Hey, hello guys and girls out there, wherever you are. Welcome to another pinball video. Yes, I know it has been an incredibly long time, I think at least 2 years since I uploaded a new video on this channel. But yes, here I am. See, the thing is, sometimes life happens and if there is not really that much new stuff happening in my pinball life, I don't really have any content that I can post, and I don't want to bore you with stuff that you don't care about. But yes, here I am, and in this video I want to explain how I solved the problem where I thought at the beginning that it is a small problem, but then it turned out to be a little bit more difficult to solve this problem than I actually thought it would be. It's the problem that with my Jurassic Park pinball machine, I had a couple of LEDs, or not LEDs, a couple of lights, a couple of light bulbs that didn't work. So lights on or beneath the play field, and I didn't really know what was causing it. And usually you would think, well, it's an old pinball machine, and if some lights aren't working, it probably means that those light bulbs are just broken. So I just replaced the light bulbs and everything is okay. Well, not in this case, because I tested the light bulbs and I looked at them, and as it turns out, all of them are completely okay. They are completely intact. So that's when the search began. And I just want to show and tell you how I searched for the source of this problem step by step, and I couldn't do this without the help, or I haven't been able to do this without the help of the pinball community. And this is also going to show you, even if you don't know what you have to do, there is always people willing to help you. And you shouldn't be afraid if you have a problem, and you also shouldn't be afraid to ask if you have a problem. But before I want to get into this video, I also want to say, I know that there are some people watching my videos and they think that I'm somebody who knows everything or who can help them. But this pinball channel, it is of course for entertainment but also for education. And the videos should educate you and help you when you have a pinball machine and when you have similar problems. But posting comments, asking about problems that you might have with your pinball machine, well, this is not really something that I want on this channel. I mean, you can leave comments if you have the same problem that I show in the video, maybe. But if you have a problem with your pinball machine, please don't ask me for advice. Go and find a pinball forum or something like this and ask the people right there, because those are the places where you go. Because posting comments and going back and forward, that's not a good thing, because I also don't know everything. I also need help, even when it's just some lights that aren't working. So yeah, that being said, let's get into it. So then I took a closer look at some of the light bulb sockets that didn't work. And as you can tell, the sockets are kind of really messed up. They are really nasty, really rusty. So I thought, well, maybe that's the problem, like bad contacts and whatsoever. So I thought that I had to replace all of the light bulb sockets with new ones. But before I wanted to do that, I wanted to test this theory. So I swapped the socket that didn't work with one that did work. And as it turns out, the one that used to work now also doesn't work on this other position. So this tells me it's not the socket what's causing the problem, it must be somewhere else. So what else could I do? Okay, so because I didn't know what to do next, I went to the service menu of the pinball machine and I started doing the lamp tests. So here you can select all lamps on, which means all lamps are flashing. But you can also select various different rows of lamps. So every time you push the start button, you select a different row, which means that different lights are lit. So the lights that are always connected to this row. And you can also do the same thing with columns. And that's also how I figured out that it has something to do with one of those columns. Because all the lights that didn't work, they were all connected to the yellow-violet wire. So all the lights that are now glowing are the ones that didn't work. So for example, these three right here at the Raptors pit, the 2-ball over there, where the special, I think the special is always lit, but it's also connected to this one. And also these 2 targets right there, the shoot again. So yeah, maybe I also would have figured this problem out. That was a bad English. I mean, another way to figure out this problem is also if you take the service manual and you take a look at the lamp matrix. I mean, then I would also probably realize, hey, all the lamps right here are the ones that aren't working, and that also told me that it's the yellow-violet. So now I knew that the problem was, it had something to do with the yellow-violet column or wire or whatever. And yeah, now I could go to the next step. So now I was trying to test the connection between the back box and the play field. And to do that, I took my multimeter and set it to diode mode, which is this symbol right here. Yeah, and then I was searching for a light bulb that was connected to the yellow-violet wire on the play field, and I was searching for the yellow-violet wire in the back box. So as it turns out, it is located right here at CN7 pin number 8. Which is this one right here. So the second from the left. And how do I know that it's pin number 8 and not pin number 2? Well, because you have those little numbers right here. This is a 9 and this is a 1. So on this side, this is pin number 1. This is pin number 9. So this is pin number 8. So I tested the connection, and as it turns out, the connection is fine. So this means the problem must be somewhere on the circuit board. So I tried to figure out where the signal would go from this pin, you know, where it goes. So the first stop is right here, which is Q65, Q65. It is, I believe it's called a MOSFET transistor. I'm not really sure. Could be a different kind of transistor, but yeah, it's a transistor. So I noticed that the soldering points on this one weren't original, and also that it wasn't an original transistor, because all the other transistors right here, they were TIP42 transistors, but this one was TIP42C. But as I figured out, somebody told me on the internet that it doesn't matter if it's a 42 or a 42C, so that's not causing the problem. But still, it was kind of suspicious that the one that has been replaced is connected to the pin that didn't work. So I didn't really know what to do, so I was taking my multimeter and I was testing all the other transistors to figure out what exactly I had to measure. So as it turns out, on all the other transistors, I could measure something on all 3 pins or on all 3 legs of those transistors. But Q65 is the one where I could only measure something on 2 of the legs. So this, in my opinion, it told me that this transistor is broken. So I took it out and I gave it to somebody to test this transistor, because I have to admit, I don't know how to test MOSFET transistors. I know there are videos on YouTube explaining how to do it, but for some reason, even if those are pretty simple and also pretty good videos, I just don't understand it. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just too dumb at this point. But yeah, he tested this transistor, and as it turns out, the transistor is fine. Yeah, now that was a bummer. So I put it back in, and I was really sure that I tested everything in and around this area, but for some reason I seem to have missed one thing, because I asked the people on the Pinball forum what I can do next, and they told me that I have to test the resistor located at R2, which is this one right here. And I was really sure that I tested this one before, but for some reason, maybe I didn't, maybe, I don't know, it kind of slipped by. So when I was testing it again, it turns out it didn't work. So this resistor was definitely broken. So I had to search for a new one. And no matter where I looked, I just couldn't find a 3 watt 27 ohm resistor, at least not this kind of resistor. I don't know why they are sold out everywhere and why they are not available. So I was really bummed out. But the people on the Pinball forum, they told me that it doesn't matter. It doesn't necessarily has to be 3 watts. It could be higher, but it definitely should not be lower. So everything above 3 watts is okay. And the important thing is also that it is 27 ohm. So as you can tell, I bought a 5 watt 27 ohm resistor. There is plenty of those resistors available. Don't ask me why 3 watt is such a rare thing. So I replaced it. And before I did that, the people on the forum, they also told me, well, if this resistor is broken, there's a good chance that also this transistor located at Q57 is also broken. So I took it out, tested it, and as it turns out, yes, this resistor is broken as well. So I bought a new resistor and a new transistor, replaced both of them, tested it, and it still didn't work. So that was a real big bummer. Yeah, but those things were broken anyway, so I had to replace them anyway. But it still really sucked that even after replacing those 2 things, it still didn't work. So I had to ask for help once again. And the next thing that I should test is the IC located at F9 or 9F, depending on how you see it. So where is that and how can you find it? Well, as you can tell, we have a couple of numbers up here. So here we have 9, and then we also have a couple of letters going down here, and here we have F. So 9F would be this IC right here. And they told me that I should test the ohm between this resistor and this transistor. If this connection is okay, then it's probably the IC that is broken. So I had to, I think, put one LED, is this how you call it, right here on this foot, which is because we have this little dent right here. So this is the bottom, well, depending on how you see, the bottom right. From this pin to the base of this transistor, and the connection is okay. So I knew that I had to replace this IC. Oops, I forgot to mention something. So how do you test the connection or the resistance between this resistor and this IC? Well, they told me that I should take my multimeter and I set it to 200 ohm, and then like I said, from this leg to the base of this transistor, and they told me that it should be less than 5 ohm. Then the connection is okay. And I set it to 200 and it showed me 0.04. Now I don't know if this is 4 ohm or if it's really 0.04 ohm. But yeah, it is less than 5 ohm, and this told me that the connection is fine. So yeah. Okay, so this is the original IC that was originally installed at 9F, and I searched for this number, but I couldn't really find one that was available. And I also searched for this number and I also couldn't find anything. But lucky for me, the guy on the internet, he told me that the letter at the beginning and also the letters at the back and also the entire number down here, all of this doesn't really matter. The important part is that it's a 74LS08. These are the numbers that are important. So this is the one that I got. As you can tell, different stuff at the beginning, different letter at the end, completely different number down here, but it's 74LS08. So I got this one, and I got 2 of these, and I put it in, and finally all the lights are working. So it was a combination. I don't know if the IC broke and then the resistor broke and then the transistor broke, or what actually broke first and then the other stuff broke in response to that. I don't know. But yeah, after I also replaced this IC, now finally the lights are working. So this shows and tells you how a small problem like some lights that aren't working can turn into a bigger problem and you don't know what to do. But as you can see, I am the perfect example. With the help of other people, with the help of the pinball community, you are able to find the source of the problem, and you are also able to fix those kinds of problems by yourself. You don't need somebody to come over. You don't need to send your pinball machine to some other place where it gets fixed, at least not for those kind of problems. So I hope you really liked that video, and I will talk about the other problem that I mentioned in the other video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next pinball video. Bye.